There is something ominous closing around me. Something spies upon me from the shadows. Something cruel and wicked. This place looks like the picture I saw of the bomb site. This place. Rain may have washed away the blood, but not the memory. My poor Mary. Another corpse thrown in the streets. Someone's playing a very sick game. I know this brooch. This is my mother's. A birthday gift from father. 29 Pretty Orchard Street. That's near Poplar's district. Why would this man carry off my mother's brooch? I must go there. Good evening, Mr. Throgmorton.
Dr. Reed, can I be of any assistance? Have you noticed anything suspicious lately?
Did you see what happened to him?
Actually, yes. He was thrown from the roof like a vulgar log.
Why is it that you sound so afraid?
You didn't see it. He was dead before he hit the ground. The strength required to do such a thing, well, it beggars belief.
Who could have done that?
Who? Well, a vampire, of course. Look, bite marks on the neck and lacerations here. There is definitely a vampire close by.
You've never faced, let alone killed, a vampire, Ichabod. You're a fraud.
No, I'm not. I may embellish the truth concerning my achievements, but I'm totally dedicated to my quest.
You have courage, Mr. Throgmorton. Perhaps that is all one requires to face the demons.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. You'll see. One day I'll find and kill one of these monstrosities with my own 2 hands.
Goodbye, and good hunting, Mr. Throgmorton.
Glad to see you again, Mr. Reed.
Did you see what happened?
No. I was coming back to the shelter from work when I heard an awful scream, and there was this man, dead, just in front of the building.
You saw nothing at all?
No, I told you, just that awful woman's scream.
A woman scream? Are you sure?
Of course. It was terrifying. I thought it was my sister, so I ran. But it was a man I've never seen round here before.
Lottie, tell me about the Wet Boot Boys. I know they've threatened you.
Edwina Cox wanted me to provide her with information about Mr. Hampton's resources. I refused.
Is that not dangerous?
Fuck them and their lies. They claim they protect the interests of the neighborhood, but they are just greedy parasites like all the rest.
Are you sure you're not confusing courage with temerity? You sound reckless.
Don't try subtle wordplay with me, Dr. Reed. Sometimes a woman's principles are all that keep her standing straight.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
You again? What do you want?
I've identified the men who stole from you. You were right. They were members of some self-proclaimed militia.
I knew it! Did you find the money too?
Yes, here it is. They thought they could finance their activities with it.
I never thought a man like you would be kind enough to... I misjudged you. Badly. Well... Thank you, sir.
Will you give the money back to your comrades, then?
Fuck those bastards who fired me. I'll give the money to Miss Gillingham. Her son Jack was a friend of mine. He was killed recently.
Did you see what just happened?
No, I didn't. And I don't care.
Really? Why is that?
Because this sexist pig is one of the 4 men who blacklisted me. Good riddance, if you ask me.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
You again?
I know you were friends with Miss Gillingham's son, Jack. Tell me about his death.
Jack's murder has been a shock to the neighborhood. A sign that the situation is now out of control.
Why is that?
There has always been tension between the Wet Boot Boys and members of the trade union. But a murder? That's a first.
Who killed him?
No one will ever know. One thing is certain. While Jack was alive, I had one less reason to drink.
Why does that upset you so much?
I wish I had found the time and words to tell him how important he was to me before it was too late. Another failure for Giselle Paxton.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
Pay me a glass and I'll be gentle. Pay me a bottle and I'll be nasty. Pay me a glass and I'll be gentle. Pay me a bottle and I'll be nasty.
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid.
You again? What do you want this time?
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson. Good evening, Benjamin. Can I help you?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Reed.
I have found a very interesting letter. Your son planned to prove his worth to the gang by stealing your medicine.
Oh, I see. So the little bugger thought he could use his dad to build a reputation.
The gang's recruiter was dead when I found him. Perhaps you should take better care of your son.
I love my Albert, sir. Believe me. It's just... well, I'm an arsehole, I suppose. Anyway, thanks for the letter. This is for your trouble.
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again.
Good evening, my dear colleague.
Tell me, who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say Camellia the mute florist who gives away her flowers.
What do you think of the locals?
Most of them are afraid or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
If I could get some work in, everything would be better.
Take a look. Don't be afraid. Cheap price.
This is not a place for you, sir. There's one of them! Watch yourself! Eat this! Bloody leech! Step away, sir. Stupid! Pay for this!
I can't believe I'm doing this. Are you all right, Miss Shun?
My name is Shun. This is the proper way to address someone in my country.
I do apologize, Shun. Are you all right?
Yes, I am. This is the only place where I can find some kind of serenity. Some way to remember my dear Matthew.
Have you recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
I heard that she used to help the refugees, but unfortunately you don't see her around anymore.
Tell me how your husband died, Shun.
Matthew died of the Spanish flu, like so many others. It's a mundane cause of death these days, but for me it meant the end of the world.
At this time, there is so little medical science can do to defeat this terrible epidemic. I'm truly sorry.
The worst thing is not his death, even if it tears me apart. The worst is not to have seen it coming, to have lost him so quickly, even before realizing it.
Did he hide his condition from you?
Matthew was a smiling type, a happy sort. Everything that I am not. Did he laugh at his death to come, or did he not realize what was going to happen? I'll never know.
The Spanish flu may be the worst disease mankind has ever faced. Why are you blaming yourself?
You don't understand. I didn't know he was so sick. I didn't realize the gravity of his situation until it was too late.
As harsh as this sounds, we are all equally vulnerable to this awful disease. It can take the strongest man in just a couple of days.
I never said goodbye to Matthew. We never realized how bad it was. We laughed about it even. He always made me laugh. Now I don't have enough tears to shed.
Are you on your own? Do you have any friends or family who you could be with?
I have family and friends, but I need to be here alone. One day maybe I'll go back to them, but not now. I need silence, and I need sadness.
You should not be by yourself. Grief can be a terrible trial, and it's even worse when you're alone.
Thank you for your sincere words, Dr. Reed. I sense you trying to help me, even if I don't quite understand why.
Are you a doctor yourself? Is this why you feel so guilty for not saving your sick husband?
No, I am not. But I still need to blame someone for Matthew's death. And who else, if not his wife, who did not see it coming?
I'm a physician. One of the best in the country. But I was unable to save my own sister, Mary. She died in my arms.
Why tell me this? Is it supposed to make me feel better?
No. But I felt I should share it with you, since she is buried here too.
May I ask what caused the death of your sister?
You could say she was also killed by a terrible disease. A disease I have sworn to fight and cure, no matter how long it takes.
Thank you for sharing that with me, Dr. Reed. Maybe it's time we start to rebuild our lives, you and I.
You realize you can't stay here forever, don't you? Eventually, you'll have to leave the cemetery.
Why? Why should I go? Since this is the only place I can find peace of mind.
But you're not dead. There is a difference between visiting the dead and staying with them.
You sound like you're no stranger to the pain I feel.
Let's just say, I too have a good reason to visit cemeteries at night.
Please accept my condolences for your loss then, Dr. Reed.
You should go home now.
I think you're right. Cemeteries are for the dead, for they need silence too. Thank you for your honesty and your wisdom, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for your company, Shun. Take care on the way home.
Maybe I'll see you again in Whitechapel. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye for now.
Matthew. The world has gone completely mad.
The power of the Lord!
Jonathan, at last. I've been worried sick. Have you solved the case of our poor Sean Hampton?
Don't worry, Edgar. The reputation of Pembroke Hospital is secure. Sean Hampton was not the guilty party.
Is that true? Oh, good news. Good news indeed.
I found Harriet Jones. She's much the same old, embittered woman she was, only she's been made a scowl. Her transformation did not go well.
Incredible. Why not bring her here? We could learn so much by studying her condition. It would be fascinating.
I doubt that. She can barely move. Perhaps we could learn more about the degeneration of scowls.
Perhaps. But she could also belong to a new species. We know so little of the laws that dictate vampire reproduction.
Were there any studies made by your order on the subject?
Not that I'm aware of. I will transmit your discovery to the Brotherhood's primate. He will be delighted.
What do you know of the Ascalon Club?
Not as much as I would like. There have always been rumors about a secret society of vampires operating in the interests of the British Empire, though I've never met a member.
Do you think Lady Ashbury would know of them?
Jonathan, our beloved lady is not one for social dalliances, nor the assemblies of dark orders. She's a woman of superior taste and selective acquaintance.
I crossed paths with one. A terrifying creature going by the name of Fergal. He was sent by the Ascalon Club to exterminate the scowls of the East End.
By the stole, Jonathan. If vampires are eliminating their own progeny, then dark times are upon us. Darker than I've ever witnessed.
Does the name Old Bridget ring any bells?
I'd never heard of her. Why? A patient of ours? I must confess, I don't know them all.
No, it's just someone I recently met. A fascinating woman. I had thought that perhaps...
By the stole, Jonathan, you've met another vampire. I would appreciate an introduction, if that's the case.
A pleasure as always, Edgar.
It is good to see you again, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm better than one might expect, Lady Ashbury.
Dr. Swansea has asked me to investigate the recent disturbances in the hospital, caused by skulls.
Really? What do you mean?
There is something ominous closing around me, Lady Ashbury. Something spies upon me from the shadows. Something cruel and wicked.
Whatever do you mean, Jonathan?
If Sean Hampton and Harriet were not the guilty parties, then who? I saw the bodies and the blood.
Your rebirth has not gone unnoticed, Jonathan. Be extremely careful. If you get in the way of an immortal's plans...
Do you suspect someone?
I don't know, Jonathan. I steer clear of vampire politics, especially whilst hunters roam the city's streets.
I discovered the most intriguing skull. An elderly woman answering to the name of Old Bridget, and a man who helps them remain hidden in London.
Old Bridget? Peculiar name, I've never heard of her.
According to Old Bridget, skulls can lead a peaceful existence like us. They are even able to nourish themselves by feeding on corpses and the flesh of the dead.
How vile. Please, Jonathan, let's change the subject.
Skulls of London have gone into hiding. Both mortals and immortals plot their extermination.
Yes. Skulls are the orphans of the Vampire Society. They are the shame of their genitors, a disgrace to the vampire that created them.
Goodbye for now, my lady.
you again? What do you want?
I know you're looking for an honest job, Booth. You're tired of this criminal life, aren't you?
It's just an idea. Edwina loves to run things so much. You can never really leave the gang. Wet boys for life, you know?
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Things ain't that bad, thanks to us. We give people what they need, and we control this borough.
Well, you're not doing a very good job. People are still dying here like everywhere else.
Yeah, well, we can't be everywhere all the time. And Edwina says if we can find more guns, we could be more efficient.
More efficient? Really? You should probably tell Edwina that guns are useless against diseases and infections.
Incredible. You know what? You're lucky she can't hear you right now. She's more smart than patient. My sweet queen of the docks.
Goodbye, Mr. Digby. This is despicable. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Why must it always be a good evening?
I was just being polite. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you some questions, if I may.
Don't like questions. Or doctors. And the name is Seymour Fishburn, if you must know.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
A shithole filled with maggots. Liars and thieves, all of them.
Is there no one who deserves your leniency, then?
Well, Tom from our local is somewhat of a decent bloke. At least, unlike most maggots, he knows how to listen without opening his trap.
Are you thinking about someone in particular?
Nope. Hate them all. Especially these petty, whining little shitbag beggars.
What's your occupation?
I take care of my mum. That's what I do. She's the only good thing in my life. Even though I don't treat her so good.
You seem upset. Is something bothering you?
I lost the necklace I bought her. I'm a fucking idiot. A worthless idiot.
Sometimes it's hard to be a good son.
I just want her to smile. No, I was thankful for her patience, appreciated like... God knows she deserves it.
Goodbye, Mr. Fishburn. Good evening, Mr. Fishburn.
Yeah.
Do you require medical assistance?
That's something I didn't expect to hear again. A doctor concerned with the health of his patients. Yeah. I could use some help. On several matters, in fact.
I don't know which kind of doctor you're used to dealing with, but it's a doctor's purpose to heal people.
And is it your purpose as well, Mr. Reed? I would say it's a convenient way for gaining people's trust.
Goodbye, Mr. Fishburn. Hello, boy.
Hello. Good evening.
Did I scare you? You have nothing to fear from me.
No, it's just that people prefer to avoid me.
Well, I won't. I'm a doctor.
My name is Rufus, sir. Rufus Kingsberry.
What can you tell me about this region?
It's all about staying out of trouble. But since most people prefer to avoid me, it's pretty easy.
Have you ever thought about leaving?
Where else would I go? At least I know these streets and some people around here. This is my city, for better or worse.
What do you do around here, Rufus?
I listen to the news on the docks, sir. And I smile at those kind enough to spare me a bob.
What do people say about this place?
Things have been tense between the wet boot boys and the communists. They both feel they should run the docks.
Do you have a job?
It's hard to work, what with my head and all. Since I was a boy, I've always had trouble remembering what I do and why I do it.
Are you alone? Where is your family?
I don't have any. My parents are dead.
So you have no home? You're sleeping rough?
No. I mean, yes. I live on the streets. I have no home.
This city has abandoned so many of its children. It's tragic.
Well, I've known worse. I'm not all alone. I have Mrs. Fishburn. She's been very kind to me.
Why do you think she's so considerate?
I can't say, sir. I guess she's a good soul. Sometimes it's like she replaces the mother I lost, even if we're not related.
Do you need help?
A real doctor caring about me. That's a first. I feel like a real person.
A real doctor treats everyone the same, Rufus.
I don't know what to say. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care. Good evening, madam. I'm Dr. Reed. Could I come in?
Why? What do you want?
I work at the Pembroke Hospital. I'm investigating the flu epidemic in this area.
Oh, the Spanish flu. Well, that's quite liberal of you, Doctor. But this is no time to be knocking at people's doors.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburn. Stella Fishburn. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in? I'm not sure the epidemic is what worries people most these days.
It's locked, all right.
Best grow eyes in the back of my head, sir. Gentlemen are easy targets in these parts. I can't remember the last time I had a good sleep. Please don't stay too long, sir.
It's locked.
So you have questions about the flu, then?
Yes, among other things.
Forgive my rudeness at the door. It's just my son doesn't like strangers coming in the house.
How is life around here?
Life has always been hard in the East End. But it's everywhere nowadays, isn't it?
Do you think the increase in violence has anything to do with the epidemic?
Don't know. But it's most likely linked to the gangs, if you ask me. Recently, it's like everyone has had to pick a side.
Violence has always fed on poverty, don't you think? It's a cruel law of the human condition.
And selfishness is their rotten fruit. These days, you can just die in the gutter and no one will bat an eye.
The orphan that regards you as a mother. Please tell me about him, Stella.
You mean Rufus? I wish I could do even more for the poor boy. Most people are so selfish.
But you're not.
Years may have passed, but I haven't forgotten how it feels to go through days with nothing but an empty stomach.
May I ask what you do for a living, Mrs. Fishburn?
Since my husband died, I worked at the Dawson Rope Factory, but it closed before the war. I occasionally help at the night asylum, in exchange for food.
Did your husband die in the war?
Oh no, my Jack was a docker. He died when my Seymour was just a lad. The poor boy saw his dad slip and fall from that scaffolding.
How do you pay the rent, then?
My Seymour works at the docks, just like his dad. He's very attached to the house he grew up in. It's not always easy, but we get by all right.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburn. Take care of yourself.
Just grow eyes in the back of that head, sir. Gentlemen are easy targets in these parts.
Evening, Rufus.
Evening, Mr. Reed.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care. It's locked.
Turn around. Crush the...
We have to stop it! It's a leech! Kill it!
I'll take its head!
It's locked, all right.
Get them weapons ready! We found one! It's too strong! A leech! A leech! Best turn around if I were you. Watch yourselves! This one of them! Eat this! I'll send you back in the fucking grave!
I have this thirst for blood. This place. Rain may have washed away the blood, but not the memory. My poor Mary. This is my watch. Damn grave robbers.
Lovely! It's on to us! Boom! Fuck, it's fast!
I cannot enter. It's locked, all right.
It's one of them!
All of you bloody leeches need killing! Back in the cave! You'll pay for this, you ugly fucker! I'll tell you! I'll put it into you! I'll send you to hell.
It's locked.
Over there! There's one of them vermin!
This place looks like the picture I saw of the bomb site. Yes. The place has changed since the explosion, but it was definitely here. I should find some way to pay my respects. I cannot enter. May all who suffered from this tragedy find or rest in peace. It's locked. can't believe I'm doing this.
To every night a darkness, and every dawn another death.
Good evening, Mr. Delaney.
What? Ah, you're that doctor.
I found the location of the explosion, Mr. Delaney. I placed a flower for you where it happened, just as you asked.
Really? That's so kind. I never thought someone would... Well, thank you, Doctor.
It's nothing, really. And I'm sorry for your loss.
What? No, I didn't know them. No car was supposed to park there that day. Stupid bastard, why did he park there?
You're the man who hid that bomb.
I don't want to talk about it. Leave me alone.
I sense your guilt, Dyson. Why is that? Did you not think violence was an acceptable political tool?
I still believe our fight was just. By killing an innocent couple who were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. No way.
That bomb also killed you that day, don't you see? You just die a slower death, drink by drink.
I know. Maybe I deserve judgment. Until that day, I'll just be Dyson the drunk, not Dyson the murderer.
I want you to remember the bomb, Dyson. Tell me about it.
No. I don't want to remember it.
The victims. They were not the target then.
I spent so much time figuring out the perfect moment. I used a short fuse. No car had ever parked there. They all died.
Why use a bomb? What were you trying to destroy?
The Dawson & Dawson ammunitions factory. A symbol of violence against the people. My group wanted to destroy it to send a message.
Is it true Sean Hampton saved your life?
Yep. The sad saint grabbed my soggy ass and brought me back to the pier after I fell into the canal. I was a wreck back then.
Were you thankful for what he did for you?
Sean Hampton really acted like a saint that day. But I suppose I'm just another lost soul who doesn't deserve to be saved.
Goodbye, Mr. Delaney.
Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Dr. Reed. What do you want?
I managed to reach the mass grave in Southwark. It was not pleasant.
Spare me the details, Dr. Reed. All I want to know is what happened to those bastards who owed me money.
I'm afraid those bastards, as you call them, are in the mass grave.
Dead? Shit. That money would have been useful. Well, I'll tell my boys to avoid the place if it's that dangerous.
Yes. Everybody should avoid that place until further notice.
Okay then, Doctor. It looks like you deserve your reward after all. The Wet Boot Boys thank you for your help.
Can I see what you have to sell?
As long as you have money, I'll show you all I have.